gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bú jòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bọ́mọ pẹ́rẹ́ àmì padà ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ má bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jà mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣẹ wọn ra wọn la pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ àdàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mi àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ ni mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba gbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ n ò lè lóńdò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wa lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
lálẹ́ olùlọ́jọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kẹwàá ṣe fẹ́ gbọ́. ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkún olóyè Sunday Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọmọọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé ti gbákejì ààrẹ Mákẹ́hìndé Ìgèàdùnbí Kẹ́ńtò tí ń ṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn lágbèkalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho. bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọba ògbóni àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá ṣe àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà tí ó wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W11 4UL United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago 7 ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́lẹ́dago 12 òru. bákan náà láti ń kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ 12 oṣù kẹwàá tó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejì dínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho léyìí tọ́láyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀du ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lú ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn. bàbá ṣe máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London route bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford Street títí tí ìwọ́de ó fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ 13 ọjọ́ kẹtàdínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan. fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́ntírìlì ẹ lè pè tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979 Kẹ́hìndé Ìgèàdùnbí lórí +447 570 320 030 Ṣọlá kò gbọdọ̀ kú lórí +353 863 375 537. bákan náà ní ẹ lè kàn sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447 896 018 764. lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSDN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe ń kí ọmọ aládìkún wípé ẹ kú ọdún ẹ kú ìyèdún a sì ń ṣàmọ́dún sẹ́ẹ̀mí ìtayà tọmọ. Yorùbá World Media tó ń kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá. lálẹ́ olùlọ́jọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kẹwàá ṣe fẹ́ gbọ́. ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkún olóyè Sunday Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọmọọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé ti gbákejì ààrẹ Mákẹ́hìndé Ìgèàdùnbí Kẹ́ńtò tí ń ṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn lágbèkalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho. bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọba ògbóni àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá ṣe àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà tí ó wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W11 4UL United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago 7 ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́lẹ́dago 12 òru bákan náà láti ń kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ 12 oṣù kẹwàá ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejì dínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho léyìí tó Ọláyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀du ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn bàbá ṣe máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London route bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford Street títí tí ìwọ́de ó fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ 13 ọjọ́ kẹtàdínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́ntìrìlì ẹ lè pè tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979 Kéde Ìjàdùbí lórí +447 570 320 030 Ṣọlá kò gbọdọ̀ kú lórí +353 863 375 537 bákan náà ní ẹ lè kàn sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447 896 018 764 lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSDN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe ń kí ọmọ aládìkún wípé ẹ kú ọdún ẹ kú ìyèdún a sì ń ṣàmọ́dún sẹ́ẹ̀mí ìtayà tọmọ. Yorùbá World Media tó kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
bàbá wa olóyè Sunday Igboho ẹ káàbọ̀ sí àárín wa ẹ káàbọ̀ sí Yorùbá World Media àwọn yẹn wa wọ́n sọ wípé mega rally with olóyè Sunday Igboho máa fẹ́ kí Yorùbá torí wọ́n sọ pé ẹnu oníkan báyìí òun náà ni a ti gbọ́ pọ̀n máa fẹ́ kí ẹ bá mi ṣàlàyé fún àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n ń wò yín àtàwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ wa báwo ni mega rally ọ̀hún báwo ni yóò ṣe lọ kí sì ni èròǹgbà ọmọ Yorùbá fún mega rally ọ̀hún.
mo dúpẹ́ àbí ẹ ṣe olóòtú mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín mo tún kí gbogbo ilé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé pátápátá torí pé èmi mọ̀ pé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ló ń bọ̀ níbi ètò tá a fẹ́ ṣe ní London yẹn so gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri láti ìlú Yorùbá ni o àti London ni o àti gbogbo Europe America Canada Australia káàkiri so Japan Ọlọ́run bá tó yóò ní ayé tó lọ́run yóò jẹ́ kékeré òkú délé o ní jábọ́ ní kú sí ọ̀nà bí èéfín o bá ṣe máa ṣètò yẹn ní pé.
Lemfi is a trusted app that allows people to send money to countries.
Ọlọ́run èmi ọmọ yín Sunday Adéyẹmọ tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Sunday Igboho máa ti wà ní ìlú London láti on the 11 October so màá wà pẹ̀lú àwọn bàbá mi àtàwọn ọmọ mi kan láti ṣe ètò ìmú nǹkan jẹ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́ fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ ní ibi tá a bá wà so tó bá wá di on the 12 tí ẹ jẹ́ ọjọ́ Saturday pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run a máa jọ wà níbi rally yẹn gangan ní dìmídìmí tí mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ká túyàyà kájọ jáde papọ̀ kájọ lọ sí BBC office ká lọ jẹ́ kí gbogbo ayé mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ kájọ lọ fẹ̀hónú hàn kájọ lọ ṣàlàyé bí tí nǹkan dé dúró bí tí nǹkan ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ bí tá a bá dé bí tó dé dúró lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tá a wà yìí àti nǹkan tá à ń fẹ́ gangan tá a fi ń pariwo gan kí gbogbo ayé nínú mi dùn pé àwọn London náà ni wọ́n colonize wa àwọn náà sọ wá pọ̀ náà sì gbéyàwó agídí fún wa àwọn náà ní ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pariwo lé lórí ká béèrè pé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan bí ìgbéyàwó bá wọ̀ mọ́ ẹ tú wa káà náà àfi kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ so Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó bàjẹ́ fún gbogbo wa o ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jáde pọ̀ ká kó mọ olùpọ̀ bọ́ mò ń fi àsìkò yìí mo fi ń ṣe ìdánilójú fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé pé èmi ọmọ yín Sunday Adéyẹmọ tó ti tójọ́ mẹ́ta àti ẹ ti rí mi tẹ́ ti gbóhùn mi àjọ fojú ṣe kòńgẹ́ ojú mẹ́ẹ̀ láṣẹ Ọlọ́run àjọ ṣe dé ojú ọjọ́ ṣe déédé àjọ wọ́ọ̀dì nílùú London ní láti on the 11th di on the 12th mo wà pẹ̀lú yín pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó bàjẹ́ ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́.
Okay, a very good evening and welcome to the Koikimedia live broadcast. If this is your first time of ever joining my conversation, please share the program and invite others to do so. Moki Wama Yoruba, we are Bushinla. Moki Professor Adebanji Akitoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group. Moki Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, and also all our leaders. Moki Wakwe, good evening and welcome once again. And I hope we're all trying in this very difficult time. Shout out to all our media campaigners that are working around the clock. Yesterday, we all saw Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho at the World Media. And whether you know him or not, he's a legend. And we will continue to appreciate the work he has done so far. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn elétò tí wọ́n ń tò lábẹ́ bàbá wa, the Emeritus Professor Adebanji Akitoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group. Yoruba Nation is not a political party. It's a movement. And whether you agree or disagree with him, he has done exactly what Baba Olawo would have loved to do at this particular time in the history of the Yoruba people. Oko unfortunate that many Yoruba people that put on the same hat like Baba Olawo are not doing the same thing like him. And reason tí Yoruba Nation tí ṣe wá sí ìmúṣẹ nìyẹn. Wá dúpẹ́ pé Professor Adebanji Akitoye did not look back. Rather, he was looking forward láti gba Yorùbá sílẹ̀ nínú wàhálà tí a wà nínú ẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ò mọrú wàhálà tá a wà nínú ẹ̀. All they can say is that everything is okay and there's nothing wrong with us. But Baba Akitoye, there's a lot wrong with us. And until we exit what the British created before we can have peace of mind. Some agree with him to some extent, while some do not. And that means that we have to work hard to convince many that the only future and anything way can join Yoruba Nation campaign. But as usual, that has been very difficult because of so many other influence. The one from inside and the one from outside the country. But that is not going to stop the movement. So when people say the movement is going nowhere, I laugh. But the movement is actually going somewhere. And we give glory to Baba Akintoye for steering this ship in the right path and the right direction. There is no amount of your analysis of views that can change what Baba Akintoye has laid as foundation. There might be many different Yoruba groups and different Yoruba organizations, but most of them are not talking about self-determination. They all have different agenda. And then Tobaresh ní another agenda against self-determination. Still want the British rule lórí ọmọ Yorùbá. Because self-determination will give us our own full independent autonomous country. Tí ó wà far away from Nigeria, where we can control our own government and we can also set up our own various institutions and policies to work with the world. But when other Yorubas are saying that we want something different, I jẹ́ pé they want the British amalgamation to continue to exist on us. And that is where we differ from them. So tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ táwọn kan wá against the Yoruba nation. They are against Yoruba nation because the Yoruba country will give us the full access and control over our resources. And we can also be respected within and outside Nigeria. And when the Yoruba speak, kò ní máa sí other ethnic indigenous people that will be against what we want. Because within the Nigeria context, if you want something, the others will disagree with you to some extent because what believe we you are not representing the whole indigenous people. And that is a friction while we need our own independent country. But for somebody that doesn't understand that, we have to explain it to them so that they can get a better understanding. So, I dúpẹ́ fún Baba Akintoye for the great job he's doing and the one he's going to do for us as well. Yoruba Nation is about our identity and also our culture and exactly who we are. But since tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá gan mọ̀ ta ni wá, you can automatically tell that that is a danger on its own. But we will overcome all that. It's just about time a gbọ́dọ̀ gbìyànjú tó pọ̀ kí a lè rí àṣeyọrí ṣe. Tá a bá gbìyànjú tó pọ̀, àṣeyọrí yẹn ò ní jáde. And we would all be disgraced, whether as independent people, whether as individuals or collectively inside what is known as Nigeria. So it is important that the Yoruba people at home and outside and within and across all the continent all endorse pé kí Yorùbá dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. Torí àìmá dá dúró wa ó máa fa ewu tó pọ̀ fún wa nípa ìdàgbàsókè and also security and the well-being of millions of our people that are struggling in what is known as Nigeria today. I want you to take a look at the topic that I want to talk about. Comes under Commonwealth. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ò mọ meaning Commonwealth, but I'll try as much as possible to explain it to us as I can in this broadcast. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí Professor Emeritus Adebanji Akintoye. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. I will not be mentioning names because I've already started the program. But please sit back and enjoy the program. We are live on all the platforms. If a particular platform is not suitable to you, switch and watch it on another platform. Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa. Mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ, and I like to appreciate her for standing firm in this very difficult time when a clarion call was made and his own son also stood out. Ìbéèrè tí mo fẹ́ bi àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ni pé, should it be time now that the Yoruba nation, àwa tí a believe in it, tí a dẹ̀ ti gbàgbọ́ pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ kan péré tó kù tí a lè fi exist as people, would it be in the interest of us to pull out of the Commonwealth nation for two reasons? The role that the British, or Britain rather, played in the slavery and also during the colonialism. I ask again, is it time that àwa tí a gbàgbọ́ under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye and all our leaders and our women leaders to now pull out of this Commonwealth nation for Britain's role in slavery àti colonialism? Because role tí Britain play in these two has affected and is still affecting us as people. Since Nigeria is not yet dissolved, Nigeria can still operate within the role of Commonwealth nation. He has every right to remain in that role. But àwa tí a gbàgbọ́ nípa self-determination, maybe it is time that our leaders communicate to King Charles and the British government and give them our demand to exit the Commonwealth Union. Because kò níṣẹ́ kankan tó ń ṣe fún wa. and he has no role that he's playing. I don't know what your take is on that, but I think it will be in the interest of us all as well to pull out. And I'll tell you all the reason why we're going to pull out, because there's a lot of development that will be happening within the Commonwealth in the next couple of months that I'm going to share with us. Some of you might probably have known or read it, why some would not. 3 African countries, excluding Nigeria, are contenders for the role of the Secretary General of this fake Commonwealth Union. That Britain forced every single one of us together. And it will be known that these African countries, that I'll tell you these countries later, are now asking Britain for reparations. This, from the information I gathered, was one of the reasons why MK Abiola was killed. That he would ask Britain to pay for every penny that Britain rode in slavery. And MK will never become the president. But Ojuyobo, your other criminal president that has found its way through crook and crime to become the current Nigerian president, will probably bow and allow Britain to continue to operate without impunity on Nigeria, since he also has a lot of baggage to Hasilonu. So gbogbo tí West bá sọ fún ni dandan swear mama accept. So if you are one of those that doesn't understand how international role are played, your president, since the West controls them, as against Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. These 3 countries have been able to prove themselves against the imperialism and the West. And kò ń ṣe dandan ni pé kí ìlú tóbi, àwọn tí ìlú bá ti lè defend ara ẹ̀ against people that wants to take them away. I'm going to start my program from the video that I'm going to share with us in a minute. This video was a month ago, as Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré unapologetic speech about democracy sends shockwaves. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá, they are cowards because they are scared to die. And tó bá dẹ̀ ń bẹ̀rù kú, gbọ̀ngàn ni kú máa wá padà wá pa later. Because millions of you will die because of lack of many things in Nigeria. So your cowardness is killing you anyway. But I am not worried of you because you have allowed that cowardness to creep in. I'm going to show 2 pictures. And whatever you understand with that picture before I take them down, and I'll probably show them again. I want you to study the picture when I bring it online in a minute. One is on the right-hand side, and one is on my left-hand side. I'll give you the timeline of the two pictures before I show you. One of the pictures that will be on your right-hand side was taken yesterday in England, while the second one to your left-hand side was taken 2 years ago. So when some of you coward Yorubas, telling us to keep Nigeria, is because you don't know what Britain needs out of you. But we know what they need, and what they need is exactly what the picture will tell you when I show you now. So let's watch the picture. What you're looking right now in front of the screen, if you understand this picture, put it in the comment section. These two pictures speaks the volume that you don't have a country, but yet you might think you do, because that is what they are telling you. The country that you think you have, who are invalid, and it will remain so. Have actually remained in the Commonwealth contraction. So picture méjèèjì tẹ́ ń wò níwájú yìí. Let me start with Jagaban. That picture was yesterday, the 11th of September 2024. And it's official that he's in London. And it was taken to the palace. And that's all we got. Still image. Nothing more than that. With just a message that I'm going to share with us in a minute. So, the other picture to your left-hand side is the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, that was welcomed to London in November 2022. And you can tell the two between these two pictures. The picture méjèèjì ó carry weight. The one that is on your right is to prove that Tinubu is not and will never and would not, for now, probably be given the same kind of respect like South Africa. So that your Nigeria giant of Africa is no longer the giant. It has been taken out of the map, but they need it to remain where it is so that kí àwa tá jẹ́ èèyàn inú ẹ̀ continue to struggle as people. So what you're looking at to your left-hand side was King Charles in the middle with the wife, Queen Consort Camilla, and the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. These were 2 days visit to the UK, which was well publicized, which was well detailed and well prepared for, because it was a state visit. And when something is a state visit, it means that it's a valuable asset. Not that Nigeria is not a valuable asset to Britain, but not the asset that they need anymore today. So, what you have looked in front of you in this particular image speaks the volume that Baba Akintoye have told Tinubu that he will never be welcome as much as he's forcing himself. I'm sure that they probably begged King Charles just to see him and take pictures so that he can feel cool and feel welcome since Joe Biden till date. And I believe we'll never meet Tinubu till he leaves office, and we don't know who the next president of America will be. Whether the next president will be. Tinubu is still begging to meet Joe Biden, and he's not likely to see Joe Biden, not even during the United Nations General Assembly that is coming up towards the end of this month with my intelligence in America. Because Joe Biden is trying as much as possible to avoid a drug baron so that it doesn't destroy their chances of coming back to power against Donald Trump. So, when it's here in understanding how the international world is played, you might think that you have a president, which is true, but is as useless as tissue paper, just like your country has no value. But many of you, Lenny, still will not accept the truth. They've lobbied King Charles, and since King Charles still needs Nigeria to be where it is, even though they can foresee that the future and the end of not just Nigeria, even the Commonwealth is breaking apart on its head near King Charles. So I just want you to first get the image in your eyes. And I'm going to remove those images, and then we will start going into other areas that I want to talk about. So since you've seen that image, just put it at the back of your mind that Tinubu had to lobby King Charles to meet him while he was in London yesterday, before he headed to Dubai, where about 400 innocent Nigerians that never destroyed the economy, that never stole money, just looking to japa. As I speak to you today, 400 Nigerians have been returned back to Nigeria from UAE, regardless of whether they were criminals, regardless of whether they were just average Nigerians that wanted to survive, just like I did some 24 years ago when I left Nigeria myself. But Dubai said it doesn't need any one of them, and they're not going to respect Tinubu even if he likes. Beg them, plead with them, because your country, like I said, is as useless as tissue paper, and nothing will bring the image of Nigeria back to light again, because the end of Nigeria now anyway. So whether you want Nigeria to break or you don't want it to break, your country has no value in the world that we live today. So just put that at the back of your mind. I was showing you earlier about those two images, and I'm going to bring them back again before we dive into the discussion further. Because that image, I want you to put it at the back of your mind that is a strong image, even though we know one of them begged while the other never begged. So just to prove what I said earlier, in the front of you, you can see that the BBC, your most trusted broadcasting bias corporation that will be visiting us, or will be visiting them in October 12 on Saturday, as CSI said, yeah. Let's listen further to Igboho before we go further.
ẹ ṣe bàbá wa Ìgbòho ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí tọlọ́run ọba kọ́mẹ̀ǹtì wà nù kíní pé ṣé bàbá Ìgbòho ló ń sọ bí ò ti ẹ̀jú ìṣẹ́jú kan ẹ ṣí ojú yín kọ́ mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin lẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀yin lẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ ẹ ti gbẹ́nu sí máìkì ẹ gbójú sí fídíò. kò ń ṣe artificial intelligence.
ẹ mọ̀ pé
adigun gbẹnu sí máìkì lọ́dọ̀ wa ni o ẹ ti gbẹnu sí máìkì báyìí o.
ẹ bọ́ dé mo tẹ ẹnu gẹ́ mo tẹ ẹ̀yà.
kódà wọ́n tún gbójú sí fídíò wọ́n gbójú sí kámẹ́rà.
ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹyẹ méjì jádàn ẹ̀yin bàbá àti màmá alẹ́ máa ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bí mo máa ń fi ẹnu sínú kọ́ọ̀pù tí mo kàn tí mo bá fẹ́ ẹnu sínú akèrègbè tí mo kàn ń dún ayẹyẹ mọ̀ pé gbọ́mọ Yorùbá dùn mí mọ́
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
tó kí wàá rẹ̀ bí mo pajúmọ́ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ tí wọ́n bá gbọ́ voice mi wọ́n mọ̀ pé mò ń sọ̀rọ̀ tí n bá rán agbẹnusọ mi sọ̀rọ̀ pé kó fóun síta tó bá ti fóun síta wọ́n ní ohun tí kò ìkéré tóun mi bá wà lábẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n ní ohun gbòòrè so ẹ ṣe mo dúpẹ́ àjọmọ̀ àwọn yẹn kì í ṣe fíìmù tó
ẹ ṣe bàbá wa ohun yẹn nìyẹn ojú yẹn nìyẹn.
tí ojú ọjọ́ ṣe kò ń gẹ́ ojú báyìí ní London.
àwọn yẹn kàtí ẹ̀ béèrè àwọn yẹn béèrè wọ́n ní ọjọ́ ọ̀hún wọ́n ní bóyá ẹ̀ ní wá pé bóyá ẹ̀ ní wà ní kalẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀hún.
àbà ọlọ́run mọ́ mu wa kí lè yà fẹ́ mọ àti àwa.
Clothes piling up. Sell your clothes on.
Egúnlé òun òjò ló ń fẹ́ rọ̀ aláṣọ kan ló ń fẹ́ wòran ẹ̀yà àjọmọ púpọ̀ bí màá wá bí mi ní wá gbogbo ẹ̀wọ̀n Yorùbá tẹ fẹ́ràn mímọ̀ pé mínísítà àdéhùn gàgí mọ́ sí pẹ̀lú yìí ọlọ́mọ púpù ní sọ̀rọ̀ ọlọ́mọba lọ́lẹ̀ mi mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé ọlọ́mọba tó lẹ̀ mi kò tí ì ṣetán tí ó gbà á torí iṣẹ́ tó rẹwà àti ìjẹ báàbá rẹ̀ ti jẹ kò ní gbà kí wọ́n là ń bẹ̀rù fún Yorùbá ní.
ẹ gbọ́ èdè tí bàbá wa olóyè pè ń bẹ̀ yẹn iṣẹ́ tó rán wa àìtí jẹ ó wá kù sí wọ lọ́wọ́ ó kù sí mi lọ́wọ́ bóyá a fẹ́ jẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ yẹn kó dáhùn àbí a fẹ́ jẹ́ kó dáhùn àwa kan fẹ́ jẹ́ kó dáhùn while others do not want exactly the same but doesn't matter we will get there even if there is much delay amadebe kò sí bó ṣe lè pẹ́ tó àti wà ní the end of Nigeria and you can tell. Continue to look at the two pictures where one druggee begged to meet King Charles, while the second one, they gave him a state visit.
Ní adìyẹ tí ó kọ àṣà ò ní gbé lóru mọ́ ànídìí àti pẹ̀lú àjọ wà lọ́nà pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run by grace of God ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ thank you.
ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́ ó ń bàbá wa.
And that was Chief himself yesterday at the Yoruba World Media program that was held. Now, let's come back to this write-up. But before I give you this one, this is the official Royal Family Twitter handle, which is known as X. And you can tell there with about 5.6 million followers. So the picture that we showed you yesterday, right now, picture 10 wo ni sale. Moke Koikimedia as well. Picture 10 wo ni sale. You can tell that it was posted 9 hours ago. It has gained 332K view with about 4.5K love. It has been retweeted about 824. Yesterday, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria visited His Majesty at the Buckingham Palace. Nothing more than that. No communique, no press statement, nothing. Not even a still video image. But we got a picture. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ di picture yẹn mú dáadáa. It has reason why. Now, you would expect that normally when a high profile, he didn't visit number 10 yet. I've not seen him there. But so far, what lobby Otiri King Charles? How he was able to lobby King Charles, I don't know. But I'm sure they have to fine tune to find a way so that it makes it look cool that Tinubu met King Charles, which is nothing. Okay? Compared to how King Charles met South African president. Look at the difference. This was a 2 days visit, and this was the first president across the world after the King Charles Ije Oba Ẹni tó kọ́kọ́ rí gbàrà òun ni South African president. Look at the difference. Compare that with the Tinubu picture, which is on your right hand side. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ máa wo picture yẹn, kẹ́ máa wo ìyàtọ̀. Bó ṣe welcome South Africa sí the same palace tí wọ́n ti welcome Jagaban ìyẹn Tinubu. Ẹ wo ìyàtọ̀. Ẹ wo ìyàtọ̀. Ìwọ tí o ṣì ń sọ pé o ní country, just continue to look at the difference look at these and tell me that you still have a country. À ń sọ fún yín pé kò sí nǹkan kan tó ń pè Nàìjíríà mọ́. It is an illusion. Look at them. Look at the whole state visit. You can see even ìyàwó Williams àti South African president. Look at the image. The images speaks volume compared to even Tinubu and King Charles were both not looking at the camera. I want you to study that as well. Ẹ rí pé wọ́n jẹ́ káwọn méjèèjì wo camera sí wa. It was like a camera that was just picking them, looking at each other. Compare that to your left hand side picture where King Charles and the wife stood and the photographer were taking heavy picture of them. I've not seen any video of Tinubu and King Charles. There's no communique. All they've written is just how many words. The way you count words is you count them by the writing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Just 15 words. Péré ló jáde ní odindi ọba UK. See president in Nigeria to colonize. Oh my God. What an interesting time to be alive to see how Britain respect Nigeria. Ó dà ń pé ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí mo sọ. Odindi ọba Britain. Ẹ rántí pé àwọn lọ colonize wa. Bí ẹ rántí mọ́ àbí. Maybe some of you don't even remember that Britain colonized us. We are talking about a country that colonized Nigeria. Yet, this is the best they can give our president. The same president that is operating system is Britain software, because Britain software we are using the British software. So reason tí gbogbo kan ṣe ń dààmú you're just blaming it to somebody else. You should blame it to the operating system that Britain gave us, because that operating system ó ti ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ virus nínú, and one of the virus is that we should get the hell out, because more virus will be affecting this country until we pull out. But that is for us to understand. How are you? Now, I now did another quick search as a journalist, since this only popped up to me as well just this afternoon. That shows that they were not going to tell anybody, but like I said, they had to beg Charles. Pé kó jọ̀ọ́, kó tẹ̀ jẹ́ kí Tinubu rí òun, kí Koiki lè gbẹnu ẹ̀ dákẹ́, torí pé Koiki ti sọ pé tí Tinubu bá wá sí London, kò likely pò máa rí King Charles. I just want to show this for now, because I want to prepare something behind again. Now, so what I did was I went back. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, mo need ẹni tó bá jẹ́ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó jẹ́ community Yorùbá ní Rwanda. Anybody that knows somebody that is a Yoruba community in Rwanda, is very urgent that they get in touch with me tonight. Mo need àwọn Yoruba community tó wà ní Rwanda. It is important. It is urgent. If you have the number of any of the persons I can talk to, I need them to reach out to me as quickly as possible, latest today or tomorrow. Mo bẹ̀ wá fún ìtẹ́ mọ any of the details. Now, what I'm about to show you must have changed. That is subject to if my search failed. But before I came online, I did a quick search just to find out how many media print ló gbé message Tinubu pé ó wá sí ọ̀dọ̀ King Charles. And as usual, Tinubu is a good person that bribes a lot. And yes, I was never wrong on that, because ó mọ bó ṣe ń bribe àwọn tó wà nílé, ó ti mọ̀ pé yà ń jẹ wọ́n. Tó bá ti fún wọn ní brown envelope, they will do exactly what they want them to do. And that's exactly what they've done. So what I'm going to tell you now is that when I did a quick search on the Google, my expectation was Tinubu and King Charles. The search came back, and all I saw in that search, in that particular search, going into the news, and I'm going to refresh just to make sure that nothing has changed, and nothing has changed so far. I can tell you tonight that so far, Bialon Lao, paper UK Magbe, but 9 hours ago, ni King Charles, Lotiniko released picture, sorry, royal family with 5 point something million followers on the X. But as I speak to you right now, not a single paper in the UK has picked on this message. Pé Tinubu King Charles. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa. Kò tíì sí paper ní ẹyọ kan tó sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. All the ones that I've seen so far is the Punch newspaper, Arise newspaper, Premium Times, The Sun, Pulse, Tribune, This Day, News Central TV, TVC, definitely tí Tinubu fi kówó jẹ to operate, at the Daily Post. I've gone to the next page, and again, Voice of Nigeria, PM News, The Nation newspaper, The Whistler newspaper, The Guardian Nigeria News, not The Guardian UK, okay? Politics Nigeria, Channels Television, MSN, The Street Journal, Independent, not any paper nílùú Ìkógbè. You now wonder how a president of the most populous black nation is in the UK, and yet none of the UK paper were able to tell their audience that we have King Charles just met the most populous black nation president, Tinubu Jagaban, in London at the Buckingham Palace. But look at the way this man was welcomed when you type in the same message. Britain, King Charles on Tuesday welcomes South African president. Look at all the news network that picked on it. Sky News, Vanity Fair, The Guardian, the UK one, Reuters. Reuters did not even pick the news. I'm surprised how Reuters did not even talk about Tinubu. That is how useless Tinubu has become, and his government and Nigeria as a whole. But I need Nigeria to stay together as far as we wanted to keep it together. But if we don't want it to keep together, we will create a crisis and the anarchy, and we bring everything down, and nobody will be Nigerian again. But since many coward Yorubas still want Nigeria, they are happy. I'm sure they're so happy to see Tinubu and King Charles. They think that everybody will be so happy. Hey, look at King Charles and Tinubu. Hey. And both of them cannot look at our face. They're backing us, in that picture. Picture speaks, a big volume. So you can tell, that even you can see the way King Charles hold Tinubu in his hand, that look, Tinubu, get out. I'm still your boss, okay? Just tell Nigerians to remain one. That's all I want you to keep them together. Because your job is to finish your 4 years. If they give you another 4 years, 8 years, and go away and let my Fulani friends continue to control and dominate Nigeria. Look at Al Jazeera talk about it in 2022. France 24 talked about it. CNN talked about it. This was when South Africa president came. AP News, Global Times, People.com. Every one of them talked about King Charles and South African president. But since Nigeria is a useless country, but many Nigerians will be so happy. Now, keep that for now. Now, let's come here and listen to this man. Compare this now with your own Tinubu, because I was surprised that Tinubu did not attack Niger anymore. They could have bombed Lagos State, and I'll be so happy, and that will be the end of Nigeria. But let's watch this. It's in language, but about 30 dada, Google translation. If you have a Chinese or a fake AirPod or earpiece, you better throw it away. That is the continue Arakunle Peso. This is Burkina President Ibrahim Traoré sending shockwave message like I'm doing tonight to all the coward bomb bastard Yorubas. I want Jalori Buruku that want us to keep Nigeria. Bomb bastards.
Whether you're a Democrat or not, how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people? It's a dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it. Those who call themselves Democrats have seen scenes where people were prevented from joining assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces landed in assemblies to force deputies to take texts. We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called
I love that part. They call themselves Democrat, but they are killing their protesters. Like Tinubu killed the protesters, and they are jailing them for treason. Tinubu is jailing. I saw Gani Adams. Gani Adams don't speak as well. I say Tinubu na Adolf Hitler. We'll come back to that. Ṣẹ́rí pé kò dìgbà tá bá ní àwọn àánú Nàìjíríà, ẹ jẹ́ kí Yorùbá náà dá dúró. We face the West. We will work with them. We will have partnership with them. But we will stand firm and decide what we want. In táwọn olòṣì àfọ̀njás, àwọn coward bomb bastard Yorùbá olórí burúkú tó ní ṣoríire. Tó wà káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé tó ń sọ fún wa pé àbẹ́ Yorùbá country àwọn olòṣì olórí burúkú látòkè nílẹ̀ tó ní dá fún gbogbo yín pátá bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ṣoríire. Look at Burkina Faso saying that what kind of democracy is that? That you are killing people that are protesting. That's Tinubu. He's talking to Tinubu, Jagaban. Let's continue.
If that's democracy, I repeat, we don't want this democracy. And when you see incompetence, they don't seek to know what the real meaning of the word democracy is. They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics.
Tinubu is talking about democracy without knowing the basics. Ó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa democracy kò dẹ̀ mọ̀ basics. Well, while he was in his trenches fighting Abacha, you would think that he's a good guy. Now that he's the president, no, he's picking on civil society, picking on journalists. He has become a worse criminal than the one that we know before. In 1 year, his crime has led to 13,000 innocent. I told you that the last program we did. Mo sọ fún yín, Tinubu ti pa over 13,300. Not just ordinary people that could be meaningful to your life. Tinubu has allowed them to be killed. The one they've adopted every day, they keep adopting them and they're paying ransom. They donate Okada, and yet, he lobbied to see King Charles. Some bastard Afonjas will tell you, no, don't go and listen to Koiki, because Koiki he's got mental problem in London, but they don't understand that at least my mental problem, I can still think that they are stupid, bomb bastard, each one of them. Let's listen further to Taore saying, what is democracy? It's translated, even though he's speaking his language.
That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa. Incompetence hides behind freedom. Remember, there is no individual freedom. It's a fact.
I love that part. There's no individual freedom. You think, hey, Yoruba nation, you think you're social media, hey, Yoruba nation. Nah. Yoruba nation not going back. Coward. We can't talk about it even with our people within your church. Coward. Yoruba nation bá ti wá sórí social media nìkan. Ṣé ti sọ fún wọn ní church yìí? Ṣé ti sọ fún wọn ní mọ́ṣáláṣí? Ṣé ti sọ fún wọn ládàádúgbò ẹ̀ ó fẹ́ kọ́ pa ẹ́? Ìgbà wo ló ní padà kú? Ó má padà kú náà ni because Nigeria is killing you every day. You will die eventually. But the coward cannot talk about Yoruba nation to their people next door, but they will come online. Hey, Yoruba nation, when are we going to get it? When is it coming? Umbo, okay, Delola, okay, Umbo.
Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome all the young people from the 13 regions who are in the room and those who have not been able to access the room. To all the young people from Africa, to accompany the youth, welcome to the land of integral men.
It's summer, the girls' trip is planned.
I'd like to pay a vibrant tribute to our strong security and defense forces who fight day and night for Burkina Faso to be and remain beautiful. I would like us to take a minute to pray for those who are on the ground and also for the rest of the souls of those who have fallen for our country.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us give thanks to God for allowing us to be here today to celebrate the International Youth Day in good health. I say this very often because human beings often forget God when they have no problem, when they are in happiness. But when worries come, this is when we remember God. Give thanks every day for the breath of life and for health. Youth from Burkina Faso, youth from Africa, youth, this phase of life where we have enough strength, enough energy, like the paraphrase, the slammer that has just passed. Youth is the time when we have spent enough time. We must take advantage of the time we have been given. Use the energy necessary to reach our goals.
Use the energy. Use the energy that you have now. You should use that energy. Because that is the only way we can survive in this particular time. But you don't want to do that. But I'm sure you will do it when the time gets closer. And come out of any time. Time. With time what? Or the time. Or the time. Because almost 20 years old o ti fẹ́ kọ́ fi time ẹ̀ kọ́ fi ṣòfò. Because Nigeria ti fi time àwa ní sọ ti fi ṣòfò. Ó ti fi gbogbo time àwa ó ti fi ṣòfò. Kò mí pé yàn wà labroad ó ti fi ṣòfò. Ìwọ náà tó wà nílé tí ò tẹ̀ ní kankan. Àwa ń sọ fún ẹ nísìnyí pé ó jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe Yorùbá nation. Nigeria has used your time. Ó ti wasted. Go to university 4 years. You come out. You are driving kẹ̀kẹ́ napẹ́. Ò ń gbọ́kadà. Ò ń ṣe POS. Àbí?
To change the world, to change our world, to change the world of others positively. Children want to grow up to be young. Older people want to grow up to be young. Everyone wants to be young. Youth is a blessing. So take advantage of youth to do useful work. This is why when I see in the chosen theme, the first 2 words that come to mind, integration, security. Africa faces many challenges.
Africa is facing many challenges. Àwa wà nínú challenges yẹn báyìí. ìran Yorùbá wo ẹlòmíràn tẹ̀ mọ́ pa wà ní problem ó kàn ń sún ó kàn ń jí lójoojúmọ́ ni. Màá máa gbọ́ mo gbọ́ àwọn ọdíò kan tó sẹ́ni lẹ́nu ọjọ́ mẹ́ta yìí. Táwọn bàbá yẹn narrate lóńdó ní ọ̀rọ̀ àpòrí Yorùbá Wuyì ni mo ti ń gbọ́ fídíò yẹn. I think bí alánà àbí lẹ́nu. I was just listening mo kàn rẹ́rìn ni. Ó kàn lament. You think lamentation ló máa gbà wálẹ̀? No. Crisis ló máa gbà wá sílẹ̀. Tá a bá ti prepare fún crisis lamentation iná la máa ṣe títí tá a máa fi débi tá à ń lọ akọ̀pẹ́ ni. Arákùnrin yìí yọ wá lẹ́nu lórí comment section ẹ̀gbọ́n òyìnbó tó ń fi translate ẹ̀ ni.
Et on doit se poser des questions.
And we must ask ourselves questions.
Un atout ou un handicap pour le développement des nations?
Is youth an asset or a handicap for the development of nations?
Ṣẹ́gbọ́n ọ̀hún tó sọ mẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣé youth is it handicap? What's the handicap gbogbo àwọn báyìí nísìnyí? Everybody àtàgbàlagbà what's the handicap ẹ̀? Àtọmọdé we've all been handicapped. We've all been handicapped. And until the youth rise up. Ẹ̀ndúrókì mo sọ fún yín pé only 5% diaspora will come back home to support you officially on the ground. The 95% tó kù abroad ló máa wà when the crisis starts. They're not going to come back home because they don't see themselves coming back home. Àwọn tí wà in a safe haven. Ẹ̀yin ò sí in the safe haven, so you have nothing to lose. But I can tell you that 5% of us will return back home to be on the ground on the full force. But if I expect, look, the diaspora have all the time to sit down and support morally, financially, but they cannot come down and be coming with you for crisis or possible. So if you're expecting that, hey, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó wá dájọ́ máa ń pàdé lórí comment section, òun náà máa wá sísàlẹ̀, tábà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, no, they're not going to come, okay? So don't waste your time, because time is very, very precious.
Et vous la savez.
The answer is simple and unequivocal, and you know it. Developed countries mostly have an aging population, and currently many countries have launched programs to rejuvenate their populations. Africa has this chance to have a very young population. But why is Africa not developed?
Why is Africa not developed? Báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ develop when King Charles is still meeting Jagaban and look at him upstairs meeting South Africa? Ẹ wo ìyàtọ̀ méjèèjì. Ẹ wo ìyàtọ̀ méjèèjì. Continue to look at the image. The image speak millions of words. Mo kí gbogbo ọlẹ́ǹkan sí pé káàbọ̀ sórí kan. Ẹ gbọ́ lè share button and love and like and comment.
Donc nous pencher sur la question.
We must therefore look at the question of why Africa has a young population and why it is not developed, and why developed countries seek to rejuvenate their populations. We must transform our youth into a real asset and engine of development for our continent.
We must transform our youth and take them away from riding Okada. Take them away from the bomb-buster politician that wants you to remain under their shoes and be nursing there. Go ahead, fẹ́ yẹn. À ń pariwo Yorùbá nation. À ń sọ pé Yorùbá nation ní ọ̀nà àbáyọ kí gbogbo wa lè ní opportunity so that nobody ò ní máa wọ owó èèyàn kó tó jẹun. Nígbà tí ọ̀nà bá ń ṣiṣẹ́ tí system dẹ̀ wà, wàá gba credit card, wàá gba finance card, ó ń ṣe gbogbo ìgbà ènìyàn nídìí owó láti fi ra nǹkan up front. That is the reason why the system is there. We will create a system and a government that works for us anyway. We don't have to use the Western method. But in tó máa favour wa, òun la máa ṣe. In tá máa ṣe tó máa ní impact on the lives of millions of people, not Tinubu ṣe ó ṣe mí lóore, ó rán mi lọ sí Mecca. No, dádì ẹni kò bá máa ràn lọ sí Mẹ́kà bomb bastard. Tinubu ṣe mí lóore ó gbé mọ́tò fún mi. Yáyì ti ṣe mí lóore ó kọ́lé fún mi. Ìyẹn lẹ fẹ́ káwa wà nínú ẹ̀ àbí? We're talking about a population of 65 million people. So tọ́ba ti wá ṣoore fáwọn bíi 10,000. So ó ti capture gbogbo 65 million. Is that what you want us to be in? Are you serious? Are you serious people? Ǹjọ́ rí yín pé ìjẹ́mọ́ tẹ́ ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí à ń sọ̀rọ̀ 65 million Yoruba people that are in trap in the bondage of this contraction tẹ́ ń pè Nàìjíríà. Ó dẹ̀ gbà tí mo sick ó dẹ̀ fún mi lówó gbà tá sick ó fún wa lówó. Wọ́n á máa ronú bí ọ̀dẹ̀, wọ́n á máa ronú bẹ́ẹ̀ tí kò ní làákàyè, wọ́n á máa ronú bẹ́ẹ̀ tí nǹkan jẹun ní brain. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ tó ní kìmí nínú. Do you know that India, come on, move there. I'm still going to come back to the, theory. But ǹjẹ́ mọ̀ pé India ó sọ pé gbogbo àwọn àgbàlagbà àwọn máa make sure pé gbogbo wọn pátápátá have access to free medical. Free medical. Gbogbo wọn pátápátá. And I'll tell you how they plan to do that in a minute. Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa. Mo fẹ́ ká wo the next video tí mo fẹ́ play. India expand universal health cover for all senior citizens to the value of $6,000. Ṣé Tinubu can do that same thing? Ṣé Tinubu náà lè ṣe kí gbogbo àwọn àgbàlagbà from 70 years old up front have access to free medical till they die? Àbí àgbàlagbà máa wá sórí social media, a máa tọrọ owó, a máa lọ sọ́dọ̀ Oríyọmí Hamzat àti èyí tó wà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó ń pòròró fún àti spaghetti. Oh my God. Let's listen to this, okay? Farabalẹ̀ kó gbọ́. It is not a perfect system yet, but they are already working to. We are talking about India, a population of 1 billion people, our 200 million. We cannot take care of our old people. We cannot look after them. They are dying on a daily basis. Some of them have died. Care system is one of the most important, valuable assets for the UK. Kí ló rò pé àwọn èèyàn ṣe ń ṣiṣẹ́ 24/7 nílùú yìí? Tó ń faṣẹ́ because wọ́n mọ̀ pé tó bá lọ tọ́jú àwọn àgbàlagbà yẹn, which is a very valuable job. Not about the care tó wà nínú àwọn kan wà wọ́n wicked, we've seen them. Àwọn àgbàlagbà náà definitely tó bá ti dàgbà máa ṣe bí ọmọ kékeré táwọn lẹ́kàn náà ṣe. Àgbà ti dé nǹkan fi ń pè wọ́n lágbàlagbà nìyẹn. Àwa ọ̀tẹ̀ wa gbogbo àwọn tó yẹ kó tọ́jú àwọn àgbàlagbà ní abúlé gan gbogbo wọn ti sá jáde, wọ́n ti kúrò nílùú. Wọ́n wá sí Lagos, àwa jókòó sí Lagos, ẹlòmíì wọ́n ń sun sábẹ́ gọ́tà, ọmọ nílé ọlọ́nà, ẹlòmíì nílé ńlá ní ìlú ẹ̀ o, ìgbà tó ti dé Lagos kò rí lé gbé. Ilé slap my slap gan ṣe gbà. And you want that kind of society to remain with us. Orí yóò pè ẹ̀yin bomb bastard ẹ̀ ní kúure ìpìlẹ̀ máa gbà lẹ́nu mi. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo fídíò yìí farabalẹ̀ kó gbọ́. Àwa padà sọ́dọ̀ ti Burkina Faso. Health fáwọn àgbàlagbà lọ fi sọ̀rọ̀ lórí. India is a population of 1 billion. Pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ wọ́n sì náà máa ṣe free medical universal health cover fún gbogbo senior citizen. Ó máa tán pé senior citizen tó bá ti ń dé 65, tó bá ti ń dé 67, ó ti ń di senior citizen. Tó bá ti ń clock 70, ó gbọ́dọ̀ tó máa ronú health. Torí pé gbà ẹni gbogbo oríṣiríṣi àìsàn máa ń jáde sára yàn. Kò sí bó ṣe lè tọ́jú ara yẹn tó àìtán pè lágbà nìyẹn. Ẹ wá sọ gbogbo àwọn àgbàlagbà ẹ sọ wọ́n dàjẹ́. Ẹ wá lọ máa wá mọ̀mí water, pure water, kíní kan water, ẹ máa dà sí wọn lórí. Àwọn àgbàlagbà tó mọ̀ táwọn tó ń ṣe mọ́, èmi ti ní dementia, ó kàn nídìí kan máa tọ́jú ẹ̀ kó máa fún lóúnjẹ, kó máa sùn, kó máa jí, kó jókòó síwájú TV kò mọ́ tó ń ṣú ẹ̀. Ẹ wá sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ di jágbajàgba. Àwa wá ń sọ pé that system cannot work. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe Yorùbá nation. Ẹ wá máa lambast wa, ẹ máa bú wa. Bí ẹ̀mí nìyà ń jẹ ni, bí ẹ̀yin nìyà ń jẹ. Look, mom sí mi wà ní bíbà she's in that age bracket, senior citizen ni. Gbogbo nǹkan kọ́lá kan lè máa sọ lórí social media. Oríṣiríṣi program nìyá yẹn ló ń gbé fún. ó tún máa ń bẹ ni pé ìyá yóò ti gbọ́ nípa ilé wà available fún ẹ èyí tí mo lè sọ fún ẹ ni pé èmi ò ní mọ́tò nísìn mọ́ sí mi nísìn àwọn mọ́tò kan wà tó bá ti búkẹ̀ a lọ gbé wọn nílé a gbé wọn lọ ṣe shopping a gbé wọn padà sílé oríṣiríṣi services gbogbo àwọn mọ́ sí àwọn grandma náà wọ́n ṣe ń gbàgbọ́ nìyẹn o àwa máa ṣe the same thing nílé ṣé Tinubu máa fún yín ní access bẹ́ẹ̀ tó máa fi ṣe tán mò ń béèrè ní o èèyàn máa lè ṣé Tinubu máa jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn senior citizen ṣé Tinubu máa fún wọn ní free health care òun náà ti gba free health care fún rẹ̀ ṣèbí France ló ń sá lọ ló ti lọ ń ṣe injection ló ń tọ́jú gbogbo tó ti bàjẹ́ láre tó ti bàjẹ́ pátápátá láre.
The government made an announcement. It will offer a free health insurance cover. It will cover all Indians above the age of 70. Now, this is not a new scheme. The government is basically expanding the scope of an existing one. The scheme is called Ayushman Bharat. Ayushman means having a long life. This scheme, Ayushman Bharat, was launched.
I've told you, you're not going to have a long life in Nigeria. If you like, say, I will have a long life. No, you're not going to have a long life. Shut up, idiot. Bàbá Akíntóyè ló lè sọ fún yín pé tá bá máa ní long life, a well-being, it has to be in a Yoruba country. You will not have a long life. Ẹ máa kú pẹ́. Ẹ máa kú pẹ́. Léni. Ìyàn kan sì pé ló hàǹgà rẹ̀. Lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, fídíò yẹn ó ti sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí mi. Mo tẹ̀tí ráyè pósítẹ̀. Ó tẹ̀tí hàǹgà rẹ̀. Ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ bá wa wọ́ okùn ká gé okó tó tẹ́lẹ̀ tó fẹ́ parẹ́. Ọ̀rọ̀ ìdílé léyìí ó fẹ́ parẹ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lẹ́nìí. Èkó dẹ̀ gba $100 million lọ́wọ́ Dangote àmọ́ tẹ́ fi ṣe kó tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé èèyàn nìkan lọ́dà sínú health sector ó dá anybody tó ní gbogbo èèyàn ló máa gbà yes please but at least àwọn tó ní senior citizen nílé so that ìwọ tó fẹ́ parẹ́ torí pé màmá ẹ̀ sick because mọ́mí ẹ̀ sick at 70 years old ó need assistance. Ó wá lọ sọ́dọ̀ Chinedu ní abẹ́lé pharmacist. Chinedu tó ti kó gbogbo àwọn fake oògùn wá torí gbogbo wọn lè ra original oògùn má jẹ́ kí n parọ́ fúnra wa fake ni gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n máa kó fake mọ́ original wọ́n ta fún yín ègbò yẹn kan jẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ bomb bastard ẹni ṣoríire tó bá ní ẹ̀ka má gba Yorùbá nation ogun máa wọlé pààyàn ni bomb bastard à ń sọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan tó ń dùnyàn lọ́kàn lójoojúmọ́ ẹ fẹ́ ká máa fọ́ǹdì health yín ẹ máa kú lẹ́yẹ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ní ẹ fẹ́ Nàìjíríà ikú máa pa yín lẹ́yẹ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni lórí health ikú máa pa gbogbo yín lẹ́yẹ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni àgbàlagbà ni ọmọdé ni tó bá sọ pé ó fẹ́ Nàìjíríà ikú máa wọlé pa yín lẹ́yẹ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni lórí ọ̀rọ̀ health yẹn mo mọ ètò bọ́ lọ́wọ́ mi ní weekend tó lọ yìí pé kéèyàn má bàa kú ẹ̀ ní ṣoríire bomb bastard bí ogun máa pa gbogbo yín lẹ́yẹ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni èmi mo mọ ètò bọ́ lọ́wọ́ mi ní weekend yìí pé kẹ́mi má bàa bọ́ lẹ́nu family wa kan ẹ ṣí èrè kò ní ta fún gbogbo yín ẹ gbẹ́ ká padà sórí program yẹn.
Launched in 2018. Back then, it was aimed at lower-income groups, around 100 million poor and vulnerable families. This is the bottom 40% of India.
Do you hear that? Vulnerable family. Many vulnerable family wà nílé nísìn. Vulnerable. Ó máa ń pè vulnerable. Kí ló rò pé ìlú iṣẹ́ sọ pé o ò lè ṣiṣẹ́ tó bá ti tọwọ́ bọ̀yàn nídìí wọn ò ní jẹ́ kó ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú ọmọdé kéékèèké. Ìyẹn ló ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ àwọn iṣẹ́ kan wà ó máa apply fún gbogbo àwọn tó ń wa Uber nílùú yìí wọ́n bíbà bá wọn dá kó má ní DBS o lè ṣiṣẹ́ ní school kó má ní DBS wọ́n bíbà bẹ́ẹ̀ dá o gbọ́dọ̀ ní DBS a gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ bóyá criminal nìyẹn àbí olè nìyẹn o ti tọwọ́ bọ̀yàn nídìí rí because a gbọ́dọ̀ tọ́jú àwọn tó wà vulnerable people you don't joke with them. Àwọn sàn tó ń dùn wá lọ́kàn lójoojúmọ́ ṣé èmi nìyà ń jẹ lójoojúmọ́ ẹ̀yin nìyà ń jẹ but ẹ̀ ń fi tiyín ẹ̀ fi ń ni wá lára ẹ̀ fi ń kó bá wa lójoojúmọ́. Tàbá ti ń jí tàbá ti ń sùn báyìí problem tí yín là ń gbé sórí òun ló fẹ́ pa púpọ̀ náà àwọn tó wà jẹ́ diaspora òun ló fẹ́ pa púpọ̀ diaspora tàbá ní ká máa gbé life tiwa ká forget about you all now a máa gbádùn a máa gbé ìgbé ayé tó dáa we keep restricting ourselves so that we can make our family to survive ẹ̀wọ̀n ẹ̀ ní kúure ogun máa wọlé pa yín ni kí mo sì ní ẹ̀ka bọ̀ sórí ètò ogun máa wọlé pa yín ni à ń sọ̀rọ̀ the vulnerable people in the society. The vulnerable people that you don't joke with, the vulnerable people that you must protect 24/7. Àwọn vulnerable yẹn ló wá ń káàkiri bí ẹṣin oníwòlímọ̀ ọmọ kékeré àwọ̀ pátá wàá gbé sínú ilé ọmọ kékeré àyàn kan bá sùn nínú mọ́tò park oríṣiríṣi òṣì wa ń lọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ìyẹn nínú tí wọ́n ń dùn sí àbàbá kílẹ̀ wọ́n sọ pé society ò lè gbà á lè máa gbèrú society báyìí society kò lè lè mọ́ eléyìí ti di wèrè society mo ṣẹ̀wá rántí ti dẹ́tọ̀ ní wèrè ní gbogbo yín wèrè ní gbogbo yín àrò ló yẹ ká kó gbogbo yín lọ ká lọ máa fún yín ní injection ká lọ máa tọ́jú yín síbẹ̀. The vulnerable, the senior citizen that should be given good health care kò sí health care kankan mọ́ bó tẹ̀já àgbo náà lọ́ bá fẹ́ mu ni ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ mọ measurement àgbo tó máa mu kó tó máa mú. Àwọn àgbàlagbà tún lọ sí hospital ẹ jí fóònù mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin olè ọmọ àlè lórí burúkú ẹ̀yin bọ́m tó bá sọ fún mi pé kí n má ṣépè fún bàbá ẹ̀ má ṣépè fún mọ́mí ẹ̀ ní sóríire lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan. Idiot all over the place. A ní kájọ gba Yorùbá nation ká kúrò ní ràtìràtì òṣì táwa náà èdè Tinubu nìyẹn nísìn ẹ wo bó ṣe disgrace ẹ ní London ṣé welcome lélẹ̀ àwọn méjèèjì ya picture tí ọba gbé sínú orí Twitter handle tiwọn náà wọ́n ò lè fún wa ní ìyí tí òun àti Tinubu tó wo kámẹ́rà báyìí tó yà wọ́n ẹ wo wọ́n fèsì ara wọn báyìí wọ́n wá yà wọ́n gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ eye Tinubu ti wà ní London o ká máa jó ká máa yọ̀ ẹ̀ ní ṣoríire bomb bastard all over the place. Let's continue. Mo kí owó ẹyin tẹ́ wà lórí ìjókòó. Ẹ gbọ́ wọlé share button.
They were given a health cover of 5 lakh rupees. That's almost $6,000.
Ìjọ wo ni Nàìjíríà máa fún yín ní equivalent ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ wo $6,000. Ẹ bá mi calculator mi dà. How much is $6,000 as at exchange rate? Èló ni exchange rate lẹ́ni? Exchange rate is about 1,650. So ẹ jẹ́ ká mú $6,000. Ẹ jẹ́ ká mú pé àwa náà tẹ̀ fẹ́ sọ pé ó dá olówó làwa náà senior citizen ká fún wọn ní good health care. Ẹ jẹ́ ká mú $6,000 times 1,650. Ǹjẹ́ Tinubu lè fún senior citizen kankan ní 9.9 million pé a máa fún yín lówó yìí o bọ̀ à ní gbélé yín lọ́wọ́ tí ta bá gbélé yín lọ́wọ́ ìgbà yín ẹ máa lọ ná but owó yìí máa wà níbẹ̀ anytime tẹ́ bá ti sick ẹ̀yẹn ṣáà lọ gba treatment ìjọba máa sanwó. Some of you don't know the purpose of Yoruba nation. Ẹ̀rọ kò Yoruba nation ọ̀rọ̀ onígbó nìkan. We are talking about your health. Your health is in danger. Púpọ̀ nu yín gbàlagbà I have kidney problem. We need 25 million. 25 táwọn kan fi ń jógógò. Mo rí Adélékè Olúkùn bẹ̀m̀bẹ̀m. Ó wá ṣe graduation ọmọ ẹ̀ ní London. Oh my God. Ọlọ́run bá wọ́n ti ṣe jàǹbá fáwọn èèyàn wa nílé. Abájọ tó ṣe ní pé gbogbo yín pátá màálù tẹ́ ń jẹ yẹn mara bọ́ọ̀tì ló wà nú ẹ̀. Unbelievable. Ṣé Tinubu lè fún senior citizen ní 9.9 million naira kò ṣe cash but anytime tí mọ̀mísí ẹ̀ bá sick tó ti jẹ́ 70 years old wàá kọ́ gbé wọn lọ sí hospital private hospital máa wà involved public hospital máa wà involved èyí tó ṣe máa wá owó tó máa pè àwa tó máa fi tiẹ̀ stress wa tá máa sùn tó máa jí wa bí àtẹ́ pé àwa la ní kí mọ̀mísí ẹ̀ sick tèbí àgbàlagbà ní mọ̀mísí ẹ̀ ó gbọ́dọ̀ sick lágbàlagbà bá ti dé stage kan wọ́n máa ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ treatment àyẹ̀wò oríṣiríṣi gbọ́dọ̀ máa wà fàgbàlagbà wá lọ ṣe blood test wá lọ ṣe stool test wá ṣe ìgbà míì ẹsẹ̀ á máa dùn wọ́n á máa ro wọ́n nǹkan á máa ṣe wọ́n lẹ́yìn gbogbo wàhálà tó ti ṣe nígbà táwọn náà ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó ti ṣe gbogbo wàhálà yẹn gbogbo àṣẹ màmá máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ lára kò sí bí wọ́n ṣe lè tọ́jú ara tó nígbà tó bá wà lọ́dọ̀ ẹlòmíì ó lè jẹ́ pé accident kékeré kan ló ti ṣe nígbà kan rí èyí ní àkọ́ tó padà wá ní ẹ̀yin olùṣì wọ́n ti fi mara bọ́ọ̀t wọ́n ti fi báyé yín jẹ́ ẹ lè ronú àwa ni diaspora àwa la máa gbà yín lẹ̀ ẹ lè gbára yín lẹ̀ $6,000 ní Indian 1 billion ní population wọn ó náà guarantee gbogbo àwọn tó bá jẹ́ senior citizen ní gbogbo kódà títí dénú abúlé kò dẹ́ ṣe pé system yẹn ó ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n kàn pé improve ẹ̀ sí ni ẹja gbọ́ díẹ̀ sí lọ́dọ̀ ìyàwó mi ará Indian Paliki ìyàwó mi nìyẹn Paliki fine woman eléyìí nísìn kò ní láti tọrọ owó lórí social media ó léyìí tó ń gbà bó ṣe wà yẹn àwa náà la máa tọrọ owó pé fún wa lówó ẹ ṣàánú wa o ẹ má jẹ́ kí iléeṣẹ́ yìí kó jóná o ẹ má jẹ́ kí iléeṣẹ́ kó wálẹ̀ o torí iléeṣẹ́ ni bíbà iléeṣẹ́ ló ń pè ní Koikimedia iléeṣẹ́ kan ní bíbà tó ń polongo Yorùbá nation.
It was completely free. The premiums were paid by the central and state governments. Now, the same health cover will be extended to senior citizens, irrespective of their income or their social standing.
irrespective of their income. Ṣé Tinubu Jagaban tó wà lọ́dọ̀ ọba ó wà lọ́dọ̀ ọba lánàá picture lẹ́ ń wò yẹn ti Ramasofi nìyẹn ní 2022. Ṣé ó lè guarantee 9.9 million naira láti fi tọ́jú àwọn senior citizen ní gbogbo Nàìjíríà? Owó yẹn wà náà. Ṣé rò pé kò sówó yẹn? The money is there. But these are people that they don't care whether you all die. And we are talking about how we should pull ourselves out so that the numbers that we are talking about will just be 65 million. We first look after the 65 million before we talk about any foreigners or any other our neighbors. Àkọ́kọ́ tẹ́ tọ́jú ara wa dáadáa. We will look after the senior citizen. We will look after the widow. We will look after the newborn. We will look after the so that ẹni tó bá kú gan sef a gbọ́dọ̀ look after wọn. Ẹni tó bá needs everything will be taken care of. No, ta ló máa wá jẹ president wa lọ́wọ́ máa sọ. Ìbí kan ló jẹ president yìí náà wò ní sálẹ̀ yẹn nísìn. Let's continue.
As long as you're 70 years and above and a citizen of India, you can avail this insurance for free.
As long as you are 70 years and above and you are a citizen of India, you will get it for free. Free. F-R-E-E. Freddie Romeo Echo Echo. Free. Free. Oh, ní sanwó. Can Tinubu give us the same thing in Nigeria? Àwọn kan start owó. Just building empires. Building empires. So, ìyẹn mo ti máa ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín pé, who are you saving Nigeria for? Go favor anybody. So let's bring it down and let it end. But it's not going to end if we do not have millions of us to support this particular movement.
The government says this will benefit 60 million citizens of India.
This scheme will benefit 60 million citizens of India. Nínú 1.something billion. 60 million automatically will not have to worry their life. Their children will not have to worry that they need $6,000. Some of the medical can even be a little bit more, but at least you have to come up with. Imagine you go to any hospital in Yoruba land today, and they say, "What is your name?" Mommy mi ló máa rẹ. Bá má ṣe wàhálà, bá pè wá. Owó ń bẹ fún mọ́mí ẹ níbí báyìí, ambulance ló máa wá gbé àmọ́ ní àìsí mọ̀ nísìn. Ìjọba ọ̀làwà wà nù ẹ̀, ìjọba Yorùbá nation ni. Fẹ́ yẹn. Dé UCH. Mọ́mí mi sì. Gbẹ́gbẹ́ mọ́mí ẹsẹ̀ gbẹ́gbẹ́ yẹn. Má jẹ́ kí mọ́mí ẹ yàgbẹ́ kárí. Mọ́mí ẹ ti yàgbẹ́ sílẹ̀ ńlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kí mọ́mí ẹ yàgbẹ́ sílẹ̀ ńlẹ̀ náà. Nọ́ọ̀sì wèrè ló ń sọ yẹn. Nọ́ọ̀sì tẹ́ ká fún nígbà tí lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ a máa dismiss ẹ̀. Lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ nọ́ọ̀sì yẹn gbọ́dọ̀ dismiss kúrò lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ torí kò mọṣẹ́ mọ́ nìyẹn. Ìwọ orí báwọn èèyàn ṣe ń kí ló rò pé nọ́ọ̀sì ṣe ń lówó tó ń ra mọ́tò tuntun nílùú yìí. Tuntun ni mọ́tò táwọn nọ́ọ̀sì yẹn máa ń gùn wọn. Kò sí nọ́ọ̀sì tó wà nídìí tó ń gun àlòkù mọ́tò. Brand new car ló máa gùn because they are there for a service and they are paid for that service. Bàtí púpọ̀ ní ẹ̀mọ́ tó ń pè ní service. Ẹgbẹ́ mọ́mí yín dé UCH. Ojú lásán ló kàn dùn mọ́mí yín. Wàá tún gba etí mọ́mí yín. Ṣojú yẹn a máa rí dọ́bú. No respect for senior citizens. No value for anybody. Àwa wà nínú country àkọ́ ń sùn à ń jí. Àwa Ọlọ́run jọ̀ọ́ o, ṣàánú ìlú yìí o. Ọlọ́run ò lè ṣàánú ìlú kankan. Prophet Ezekiel ti sọ pé flag yẹn mẹ́ta ni. Àsíá yẹn mẹ́ta ni ó máa pín. Ìgbà tó máa jáde ní gbogbo ọ̀tí ìmọ̀ ni à ń bẹ Ọlọ́run pé láàárín ara wọn, láàárín Tinubu àti Shettima kọ́kọ́ gò mọ́ra wọn lórí kí gbogbo ẹ̀ dàrú lọ́hùn káwa lè pull out. If not, káwa lọ́ọ́ máa gbáradì fún crisis. Wẹ́ pàdé wa ní October 12 nílùú London. Kájọ ṣe gbogbo ayẹyẹ tàbí ṣe. Ìtìrà tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì £100 náà ni. Ẹ má jẹ́ kó pẹ́ kí ẹ tó bá wa ra tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì yẹn torí pé tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì ṣì wà available. Mo ń bọ̀.
Lálàá olùlọ́jọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kẹwàá ṣe fẹ́ gbọ́. Ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkún olóyè Sunday Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọmọọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé ti gbákejì ààrẹ Mọ́kẹ́hìndé Ìgè-Àdùnbí Kentos kì í ṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn lágbèkalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho. Bákan náà la ó mọ gba ọba ògbóni àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá ṣe àyẹ́sí fún olóyè Ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà tí ó wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W114UL United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago 7 ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́lẹ́dago 12 òru bákan náà láti ń kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ 12 oṣù kẹwàá ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejì dínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho léyìí tó Ọláyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀du ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn bàbá ṣe máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London route bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford Street títí tí ìwọ́de ó fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ 13 ọjọ́ kẹtàdínà pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́ntìrìlì ẹ lè pè tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979 Kẹ́hìndé Ìjàdùbí lórí +447 570 320 030 Ṣọlá Kògbódọ̀kú lórí +353 863 375 537 bákan náà ní ẹ lè kàn sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447 896 018 764 lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSDN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún jàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe ń kí ọmọ aládìkún wípé ẹ kú ọdún ẹ kú ìyèdún a sì ń ṣàmọ́dún sẹ́ẹ̀mí ìtayà tọmọ. Yorùbá World Media tó ń kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá. lálà olùlọ́jọ́ 11 oṣù kẹwàá ṣe fẹ́ gbọ́ ọjọ́ tó ń sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkún olóyè Sunday Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá ọmọ Adéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho Òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọmọọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé ti gbàkejì ààrẹ ọmọ Kẹ́hìndé Ìgèàdùnbí Kentos tí ń ṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn lágbèkalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí Ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé Dinner with Ìgbòho bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọba ògbóni àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí Tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú.
And welcome back once again. Mo kí gbogbo àpò ẹ̀ka alẹ́ níbikíbi tí ẹ ti ń wò wá. Àìtí ìgbẹ́nu lórí ti Commonwealth. Mo kàn prep wá sílẹ̀, but we still have 1 hour 30 minutes. And I love all your comments as it's coming through. And if you're new to the platform, please share the program. And remember that this platform discuss about self-determination, and the reason why we need to go is because the Yoruba people can no longer have access to good health care in Nigeria. One out of many reasons why we need to exit Nigeria. Let's continue the program.
This scheme checks most of the boxes. It covers all citizens without any preconditions. Even pre-existing diseases are covered. Now, seniors above 70 are a vulnerable lot. Many of them suffer from ailments. The health cover will be offered to them without any preconditions. Even if you have a health insurance policy, you qualify for the Ayushman Bharat. It won't affect your existing policy in any way. And where can this health cover be used? Ayushman Bharat has a network of nearly 30,000 hospitals. Over 12,000 of them are private hospitals. For senior citizens without a health cover, this is a big relief. They face the highest risk of a medical emergency. And 98% of senior citizens in India do not have a health cover, 98%. If they fall sick, they risk losing their entire life savings.
To do this, we need integration. We need security and development. We need to unite. You will hear about the African Union. Yes, it exists, but what is the effect of the African Union?
What is the effect of the African Union? That is the president of Burkina Faso, Traoré. Tinubu is asking him, what is the effect of the African Union that cannot ask questions, especially to our imperialist, colonialist for all the danger and the damage that they've done in the lives of millions of people? What is the effect of African Union?
So, what big Hollywood star?
We cannot talk about integration and not talk about the African Union, because it is this organization that should unite us, create real integration. But we regret to see this war that persists on the African continent, that kills millions of young people, and that this organization, which has the head of state provided with an army, cannot organize itself to support certain countries. The union is not just a word, the union is a symbol. And we young people should learn from this situation to unite us to make integration a reality.
Ils ont fait peur, sûrement, à beaucoup de chefs d'État africains.
They probably scared a lot of African heads of state. They probably scared a lot of African.
Now, I want us to listen to this part where it's talking about, the scaremongering. The scaremongering of the West. And that's exactly why many African leaders are not doing exactly what we want them to do. They are cowards. They're not going to do exactly what... Look, Tinubu is a coward. He's not going to do anything. He's a puppet to the West. And so many of them, including South African one as well. They're all puppets. Let's listen further.
Heads of state. You see, often when we express ourselves or when we have the opportunity to be in certain situations abroad, we often say something to call on African heads of state to wake up and take care of our youth so that we can start our real development. We are often misunderstood. Some have publicly opposed us. Some have publicly opposed us because they feel indexed. But I can assure you, youth, that when we find ourselves in the corridors, these same heads of state tell us that we are on the right track and that this is what needs to be done so that Africa can rise again. So we ask them questions like, why don't you do like us? Why don't you support us?
You see, Tabafe, the best out of Yoruba people, is not going to be in Nigeria. We need to exit Nigeria so that we can develop, we can innovate, and we can add value to the world that we are living today. So as we now move slightly into my next discussion, which is going to be this. I told you about 3 African countries will be contesting for the Secretary General. One of the countries is Lesotho, one of them is Gambia, and one of them is Ghana. But something is unique about them. And what is unique is that these 3 countries are now telling Britain that, look, you've done a lot of damage. You've done a lot of bad things during the time you were colonizing us. You've stolen, you've destroyed, you've taken our identity, our culture. You've destroyed borderlines. So what we're going to do now is we want you to pay for reparations. Some of you have never heard that word before, but while some of you must probably have heard it before. So welcome once again to Koikimedia live transmission, where we are bringing to you up to date what is happening in the United Kingdom and what is happening in the Yoruba nation struggle as well. So let's read this article that was put together in the Guardian newspaper in the United Kingdom with the headline, Candidate to lead Commonwealth urge reparation for slavery and colonialism. 3 African contenders for the role of Secretary General call for financial measures of reparatory justice. Whether Britain will allow that, I don't know. MK Abiola asked for the same thing, and yet we know what was the end of MK Abiola. He died. The 3 candidates to be the next Secretary General of the Commonwealth have called for reparations. Let's go and look at the English dictionary for that word.
Reparation.
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 The action of making amends for a wrong one has done by providing payment or other assistance to those who have been wronged. My question is, has Britain wronged Yoruba people? Has Britain wronged the Igbo people? Has Britain wronged the Hausa people? And has Britain wronged many people around the world? Yes, Britain has wronged many of us, but they are not going to accept the truth, and they will continue to deceive you and me. They will continue to tell you things like, oh, yes, during that time, they will come up with all kind of excuses. But what we want Britain to do is to do amendment to the reparation. Make amendment. That is the reason why we are coming out on the 12th of October to prove to them that, look, we still love you, even though we know you did a lot of damage to us. We are good, loving people. Ìyẹn lẹ ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ jáde nígbà rally, because àwa nìkan kọ́ là ń béèrè fún self-determination. Listen to this.
Other countries were refused at first, but we have to remember, and this is a really important point, that self-determination is an inalienable international right and a law as well. And other countries will recognise Scotland's democratic choice expressed at the ballot box. They will recognise that because that is the route that many other countries have taken in order to become independent. And just to make that point, that international law is very pragmatic on that point, so we should have confidence in that.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves. We are not Nigerian. Okay, where is Nigeria? Where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself, because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
There is one constitutional issue in the UK that I'm really interested, genuinely, to know what your opinion is on it, and that's Scottish independence. Look, it might be something that you haven't given much thought to, but over here it's such a live debate because, of course, we're looking for a new leader of the Scottish National Party. And one of the arguments is that, look, Scotland tends to tack more left politically. They've obviously had a Conservative government in Westminster for over a decade. What's your instinct on it? What's your gut say?
Look, I'm not an expert on UK politics. I very much appreciate what the people of Scotland have done, what they're fighting for. And my, initial thought, not being an expert, they want to go their own way, they should be allowed to.
So you think they should at least have the opportunity to
that would seem to me. Don't tell anybody I said that.
Don't worry, that's just between us.
Okay.
So make sure October 12th, you make it a date, not just because it go, but because it affects millions of Yoruba people, that we expect Britain to have done a lot of amendments, that we expect Britain to have at least reviewed the fraudulent 1914 amalgamation. But whether they are going to do that or not is no longer the question. It is what we want to do if we are not coward. So join us for that march from the BBC W1A 1AA BBC Broadcasting House, Portland Place, which is very close to Oxford Circus. If you're not too sure about the timing, 10 o'clock, we want everybody to be there. We expect to be there till 4 o'clock. We move from there to Trafalgar Square, Regent Street, Downing Street, and Nigerian High Commission. And we expect everything to be over by 1600 hours. Igboho himself will be there, as he has already said. We've had him spoken yesterday, that he himself will be personally there, not because of anything, but because it is worth attending as well. So make sure you are also going to be coming, for this particular event. Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi dá olóyè nìkan, ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo wa kí a jọ darapọ̀ mọ́ event yẹn lágbára Elédùmarè. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ bí olóyè ṣe sọ pé àwọn náà ń bọ̀ níbẹ̀.
America, Canada, Australia, káàkiri. So Japan, ọlọ́run bá tó yóò ní ayé tó lọ́run yóò jẹ́ kékeré òkú délé o. Ẹ̀ ní jábọ́, ẹ̀ ní kú sí ọ̀nà bí èéfín o. Bá ṣe máa ṣètò yẹn ní pé pẹ̀lú ògo ọlọ́run, èmi ọmọ yín, Sunday Adéyẹmọ tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Sunday Igboho, wọ́n ti wà ní ìlú London láti on the 11 October. So màá wà pẹ̀lú àwọn bàbá mi àtàwọn ọmọ mi kan láti ṣe ètò ìmú nǹkan jẹ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́ fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ ní ibi tá a bá wà. So tó bá wá di on the 12 tí ẹ jẹ́ ọjọ́ Saturday, pẹ̀lú ògo ọlọ́run a máa jọ wà níbi rally yẹn gangan ní dìmídìmí tí mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ká túyàyà kájọ jáde papọ̀ kájọ lọ sí BBC office ká lọ jẹ́ kí gbogbo ayé mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ kájọ lọ fẹ̀hónú hàn kájọ lọ ṣàlàyé bí tí nǹkan dé dúró ibi tí nǹkan ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ibi tá a bá dé ibi tó dé dúró lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tá a wà yìí àti nǹkan tá à ń fẹ́ gangan tá a fi ń pariwo gan kí gbogbo ayé nínú mi dùn pé àwọn London náà ni wọ́n colonize wa àwọn náà so wá pọ̀ náà sì gbéyàwó agídí fún wa àwọn náà ní ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pariwo lé lórí ká béèrè pé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan bí ìgbéyàwó bá wọ̀ mọ́ ẹ tú wa káà náà àbí kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ so Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó bàjẹ́ fún gbogbo wa o ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jáde pọ̀ ká kó mọ olùpọ̀ bọ́ mò ń fi àsìkò yìí mo fi ń ṣe ìdánilójú fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé pé èmi ọmọ yín Sunday Adéyẹmọ tó ti tójọ́ mẹ́ta tẹ́ ti rí mi tẹ́ ti gbóhùn mi àjọ fojú ṣe kòńgẹ́ ojú mẹ́ẹ̀ láṣẹ Ọlọ́run àjọ ṣe dé ojú ọjọ́ ṣe déédé àjọ wọ́ọ̀dì nílùú London ní láti on the 11 di on the 12 mo wà pẹ̀lú yín pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó bàjẹ́ ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́.
There's still ticket for those of you that wants to join us for the dinner with Igboho on the 11th, which is a Friday at the London Kensington. Fẹ̀yìntì mọ ibẹ̀ gbogbo details yẹn náà ni a máa fi ṣàlàyé fún yín láti lè débẹ̀ ni láti lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Ó ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó pé kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ń kọ́ kí ẹ bá láǹfààní tẹ́ agbára bá gbé kí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní iwájú ní Kensington níbi tí ayẹyẹ máa ti wáyé fún bàbá wa olóyè Dr. Sunday ọmọ Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà ìyẹn nílùú London. Níbi tí a ti máa ṣe ayẹyẹ náà òun náà ni ẹ̀ ń wò níwájú yìí fáǹfààní ẹ̀yin tí ẹ mọ̀bẹ̀. Bus 94 débẹ̀ parking wà ní gbogbo àgbègbè bẹ̀ ìyẹn fún ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bọ̀. The London Kensington ó ní parking London Hilton Kensington Hilton Kensington gbogbo address yẹn òun ni W11 4UL gbogbo details yẹn ó wà lórí timeline wa ní gbogbo ìgbà fẹ́yìn tí ẹ bá fẹ́ wá £100 without a ticket. It is important we continue to to put this out. You will not be able to go in if you don't have a ticket. But I can tell you that during the rally, you'll be able to still see Igboho himself. Fẹ̀yìntì láǹfààní àti lè wá. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá lè make dinner yẹn. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti ra ticket tí ẹ̀ ń béèrè pé báwo lẹ ṣe máa gba ticket yín. Rest assured that your ticket, your money that you have paid is already valid. Your name has already been put down, so you will not have any problem to get in. So, we will call you. All you need to do is just make your way down there. You know yourself. If you haven't buy a ticket, you will definitely need to get one if you want to join. It's £100 per head, which you will have the privilege, to have, a sit down with about 150 other Yorubas from different part of the world, America, Finland, that will be traveling to this particular occasion. So that is on that. Now, let's come back again to this particular discussion here, and then we have about 1 hour precisely left before we finally, be bringing this program to an end this evening. But before we do that, we still want to touch more on the reason why maybe the Yoruba should now be calling our exit out of the Commonwealth nation. The 3 candidates to be the next Secretary General of the Commonwealth have called for reparations and have given you the meaning of the word
reparation.
Something done or given as amend or satisfaction. It could be payment, it could be apology, it could be compensation. But Britain doesn't want to do this because by doing this, that means they've admitted and accepted all the slavery and the damage that they've done, in the past. Reparation can be paid in cash payment or by using in-kind payment. So, but since Britain continued to avoid that, yes, they did not. They admitted that they had this, slave trade and all this, imperialism, colonialization, but they don't want to accept, any payment for the people that were used for slave trade during that era. So Ghana, Gambia, and Lesotho, the candidates, expressed their support for either financial reparations or reparative justice as they made their pitch to lead the 56-country organization, these 56 countries that Britain put together, known as Commonwealth. At the end of the day, Nigeria is a Commonwealth citizen, but you cannot even travel to the nearest border of the United Kingdom without a visa, because they know that you're Japa, so you're not likely to go back. So that's the reason why they don't want you to be coming into their country, even though they continue to tell you we are Commonwealth citizens. That's the reason why is it still worth it as Yoruba people to continue in this Commonwealth, or should Baba Akintoye write King Charles and demand that we exit as Yoruba nation people? So, calls for reparations for the harms caused by the slavery and colonialism have grown since the murder of George Floyd by the police in 2020 that sparked the Black Lives Matter protests globally. When they're talking about Black Lives Matter, Yoruba Lives Matter as well. But how do we let people know that Yoruba Lives Matter? Nobody is going to help you to carry your load. You carry your load yourself. You prove to them that your load is heavy and you want to exit the union. And that's exactly what the Biafra are doing. That's exactly what we are doing. But we need more people to get involved as much as possible. So we will be following these 3 candidates, and I'll let you know, what comes out of the final situation. African and Caribbean countries formed an alliance last year to pressure former slave-owning states to pay for historical mass crime, Opolopo Yoruba more crime that Britain created during this era. Financial reparation is good, says Sheila Bochwell, Ghana's foreign minister. Whether or not the Commonwealth has a role to play will depend on the heads of government, who will give the Secretary General a matching orders. Joshua Setipa, a former trade minister of Lesotho, said he would not wait to get involved in the reparation debate. I support the idea of reparative justice, he said. The Commonwealth has a long history of facilitating discussions around difficult issues. We have dealt with racism, which was even more decisive than this, he said. A nod to the organization history in helping to negotiate an end to the white minority rule in Zimbabwe and later in South Africa, where you can see the South African president far better entertained than Tinubu in London. The Commonwealth evolved from ashes of the Britain Empire. Its 56 members, all but 4 of them former British colonies, have a combined population of 2.7 billion. King Charles is a ceremonial head of organization, having taken over after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, who was its most enthusiastic proponent. All 3 candidates to succeed Patricia Scotland as Secretary General batted of suggestion that it was a colonial relic, arguing that countries had made an independent choice to be part of a grouping they said could advocate for action on climate change and youth unemployment. The leadership vote will take place at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa, which is close to Australia, next month, between 21 and 26 October. So all I want us to remember is that if we do nothing, nobody's coming to help us. And this is how my friend had to talk about it this afternoon during one of our programs at the news bulletin. Commonwealth want reparation. Will Britain agree is the question. We know that Britain doesn't like to agree to anything. They try as much as possible to avoid what damage that they've done, but it is entirely up to us to continue to highlight it. And as I'm going to be pushing for this, probably we might not end up doing our 3 hours, but I can assure you that we will be coming out some other time again as we continue with Yoruba Nation self-determination. So let's listen to the last part before we end this program.
Our next story is about the so-called Commonwealth of Nations. For those of you who don't know, the Commonwealth is an international association made up of the UK and former British colonies. It's a strange little club whose prime function is a mystery. We don't have free trade agreements. We don't have visa-free travel to the UK. As far as anyone can tell, the only purpose is nostalgia. Maybe it's to remind Charles of the good old days when his family subjugated over 20% of the world's population. But now even those memories are proving uncomfortable for Britain. Every 8 years, the Commonwealth elects a new Secretary General. The next one will be chosen in October, and this time the 3 candidates are from Africa, from Gambia, Ghana and Lesotho. All 3 candidates could become a problem for Britain because they all support reparations. Reparations mean compensation for past wrongs. It's a way of making amends, usually in the form of cash. All 3 Commonwealth Secretary General candidates believe the UK owes reparations for slavery and for colonialism. Now, India is a former British colony. We won our independence from the British in 1947, so the reparation issue could affect us too. The issue is certainly interesting. On the one hand, India should definitely be compensated for colonization. Before the British came along, India was one of the richest regions in the world. This is said often enough, but let me add some context. The English word loot has its origins in India. The English were doing it so often, they literally stole the word as well. The English word mogul, as in media mogul or oil mogul, also comes from India. It's how the English pronounced Mughal. India was so rich that the British used the dynasty's name as a synonym for an enormously wealthy individual. It shows that the British knew what they were doing. They literally came to India to pillage resources from the wealthy. And after about 200 years, they left the subcontinent a shell of its former self. So India definitely has a claim to reparations. But now let's look at the other argument. Should we really be raising this claim at the Commonwealth? The institution's name itself is a mockery. The British ended up taking wealth from all the other members. That's the only thing we have in common. And like its name, the institution itself is a joke, with no clear purpose other than maybe an international English speakers club. So why should we raise important issues in such a decrepit forum? Issues like reparations. There's no chance the Commonwealth will move the needle, no matter how persuasive the new Secretary General might be. The group just doesn't have the mandate to pull it off, or anything else for that matter. Which brings me to the next point. Why are we still members of such a pointless institution? It may have made sense in the last century, when Britain was still an economic force, but now the country is on its last legs. It is steadily losing its clout, its economy is on the ventilator, the population seems to detest anyone who wants to migrate there, even people they once colonized. So then, what is the point of sticking around in the Commonwealth? It's a question that India should think hard about. Perhaps it's time to shed the old colonial ties and chart a separate path. Perhaps it's time to abandon the sinking ship that is Britain. New Delhi hasn't tried to do so yet. Maybe because of pity or just for a laugh, but until India decides to quit the Commonwealth, it should throw its weight behind the next Secretary General, not just for the money, but also to see Charles and the gang squirm as they try and get out of it.
I love the last part of it. Tó bá gbọ́ Òyìnbó tó lò yẹn bèbí yẹn n tó kàn ra sọ́ńbẹ̀ yẹn n tó ń fún wọn ní ẹ̀dìk lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ní Buckingham Palace bọ̀ tó bá yẹ pé Kóìkì ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yáyàyà. Commonwealth òfò Commonwealth kọ́ common loot ni Britain loot gbogbo everywhere wọ́n loot ẹ̀ pápò loot ẹ̀ bá gbogbo kan jẹ́ sọ gbogbo wa di gbogbo wa bá ṣe dì báyìí wọ́n tún wá náà wọ́n fẹ́ like wa wọ́n fẹ́ welcome wa sínú ìlú yìí màá kàn máa wò wọ́n nígbà míì tó bá ń sọ pé àwọn ọmọ wọn tó dá kankan mọ̀ ni o àwọn ọmọ wọn tó mọ history Commonwealth òfò Commonwealth kọ́ Commonwealth ni. Commonwealth that doesn't have no purpose of usefulness. Òfò àtàdánù. Èmi mọ̀ pé bó bá yá táwa bá ti mọ̀ ta fẹ́ gbogbo wa la máa lọ jà fún. Wọ́n nígbà tí gbogbo ọ̀tí mọ̀ ta fẹ́ ẹ̀yin làwa kan ṣe ń jà táwọn kan jà. Wọ́n ní jà yàn kan àwọn no problem. Ọlọ́run wà pẹ̀lú wa. Ẹ̀yin ẹ̀yẹ wa àníri jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lórí ìkànnì ti talẹ́ yìí mo rò pé gbogbo ohun tí a gbé wá fún yín nínú 2 hours program gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni ẹ gbádùn mo kí gbogbo yín tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní àṣálẹ́ yìí àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ máa láǹfààní àti tú wò ní gbogbo ìgbàkígbà tí ẹ bá ń rántí pé iléeṣẹ́ náà ní bíbà ẹ máa rántí pé ẹ lè bá wa gbọ́nwọ́ sáwo ọba tó ń bò yín láṣìírí kò ní túnú àṣírí ọ̀dọ̀ tiyín náà torí pé bí iléeṣẹ́ yìí táṣìírí ọba ti tú kékeré ní tó kù we need money to run this organization ẹ máa gbọ́ táwọn ọmọ wa ní àwọn fẹ́ lọ Togo àwọn fẹ́ lọ Ghana there's so many things that we want to engage but owó ní tó wọ́n bá sílé there's little that you can do so if you want to support us financially we pray that you all have enough to support that is how you can do it if you need a Zelle account details let me know we will send it to you if you want to send a PayPal it might tell you reseller or something like that. It is still myself, musakalam1@yahoo.com. If you want to send it to a Naira account, it's 3096808848. We will continue to engage many of you, and we will also continue to engage our international audience as well. We hope to see every one of us during the rally as much as possible. And tó ìtìra best bí a fún díkan àbí díkejì ó ṣì wà available you can let us know you can get one £25 and if you also think that you have one thing that you can work with you can help with let us know there's room for everybody and there will always be room for you as well if you have something you can add to make it fantastic nǹkan kan lẹ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ṣe ni ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀. The only thing is, don't come and bring jollof rice and, eba and all that. We might reject it because for health reason, not because I trust in UK Lawa. It's for health reason. So rather than just cook all those food, I call gbede. Ìṣojú náà la máa dà sínú bin. UK ní bíbá because a lè ṣe rally tán. Orúkọ mi wà ní details tí mo fọ́lọ́pàá. So mo lè jẹ́ fọ́lọ́pàá máa pè mí táwọn kan ti jẹ food poison. So kó má di pé jọ yẹn ẹ máa gbé kankan wá nítorí la máa ìsídà kẹgbẹ́ ẹrù yín lọ ọ̀kadà sínú bin nobody will be allowed to eat any food that we cannot confirm where the source is coming from so tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ṣe oúnjẹ ẹ pè àwọn committee wá work with you àjọ ọmọ ọbẹ ṣe máa ṣe tó bá dẹ̀ pé owó lẹ́fẹ́ fún wa ni ẹ fún wa ní owó náà mo kí lórí Twitter mo kí lórí Instagram mo kí lórí Twitter Space mo kí lórí Facebook mo kí lórí YouTube mo kí lórí MixLR èmi náà ni àbúrò yín ẹ̀gbọ́n yín olólùfẹ́ yín tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Koikimedia we will continue to use this platform to promote the self-determination agenda we will continue to use this platform to bring a conscious awareness from different angles Commonwealth la gbà wọlé lálẹ́ ó ní reason tá a ṣe gbà wọlé ẹ wo bó ṣe devalue Tinubu ìyẹn president wa because àwa fúnra wa gan Tinubu tó wáyé pé Tinubu ọmọ Yorùbá tó dúró fún Yorùbá nation ni King Charles tó bẹ̀ láti devalue ẹ̀ wọ́n ti demarket Tinubu ó lobby fún ni gbogbo picture kan take yẹn is just a lobby ìyẹn ni Charles ò lè wo camera pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ wòra wọn báyìí ni which doesn't make any sense fún àwọn tó understand ìtàn pè ní image that is a bad image is a bad taste but kí lèmi mọ̀ torí pé àwọn tó wà nílé inú wọn dùn pé Tinubu ti bá King Charles ya fọ́tò so gbogbo ètò náà àwa náà ń gbìyànjú we need money to do a lot of things but the most important thing is this platform will be continuously dedicated to remind you that tá a bá kúrò ní Nàìjíríà senior citizens will suffer widows will suffer youth will suffer children will suffer adults will suffer even your economy in Nigeria in the Yoruba land it will struggle and the reason is because that country is not meant for every single one of us so mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí o fún ayọ̀lá máa sùn ẹ má bínú I will not be mentioning all the names and all that but mo recognize gbogbo yín lórí platform lálẹ́ mo kí bàbá Akíntóyè mo kí bàbá wa Sunday Igboho àti Ọ̀túnba Adémọ́lá mo kí gbogbo àwọn organizations tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ round the clock fún ayọ̀lá máa sùn kọ́lọ̀ kó jọ àṣàyè ìkànnì ló ń pè ní Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. We hope you will join us again at our next conversation when we will be discussing some other areas. We've not touched our topic this week. That means we would have to extend it, to the next probably week. Because week is lolly already. So, and it's because of some other engagement that has taken us far away. That is why I'm not going to see what about. Hopefully, we will start the week 17 next week because Tivani can start it. You see, I will not catch up and there will not be enough time to cover every area. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, gbogbo ẹ̀yin àbúrò mi, gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa. If you have been trying to get hold of me, for a couple of days, like I said, been a lot of upgrading and some kind of things going on. But rest assured that your messages will be read and I'll communicate with you. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí sanwó dinner through me. Gbogbo yín lẹ wà guarantee pé ẹ máa wọnú venue yẹn. So whether the ticket gets to you or not, as long as you are paid and you have confirmed that with me and I confirm with you that yes, I received the payment through the account Afunyi, then definitely you will have no problem. Also, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí ra please lẹ́yìn tí gba please yín ọmọ posted lẹ́yìn tẹ́tí request because posted ẹ̀yin tẹ́fẹ́ lọ collect ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ pè mí because I have to give you a code for the collection and I hope all these messages will be clear. If nothing is clear, please always reach out to me. There's not much time left, but there's still time. Pick your flicks, let them post it to you. It will be very difficult on the day. Kamawa, Mr. Lagbaja tàbí fún láṣọ níjọ́ yẹn. Ẹni tó bá ní aṣọ tó fẹ́ gbà ẹ gba aṣọ yẹn kúrò lọ́wọ́ wa. Kẹ́yìn náà lè wọ máa bọ̀ níjọ́ yẹn kẹ́ lè look nice. So ẹ lè wọ anything sísàlẹ̀ ẹ wá wọlé lórí ẹ ní láti gbé jacket and wear a very nice flat shoe torí ìrìn tó wà níbẹ̀. There's a bus that will be taking the elderly people. We need contribution to support this project of this rally. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá ń sọ pé YSDM lè máa dáwó sí like I said the last time this is not a YSDM full project. It's a Felodun project. YSDM has about 92 different groups. Ìyẹn ló ṣe ń pè ní YSDM. So it's about all the groups. Every group will then work, on their own, but they will relate and work with YSDM. So if we are sending an account and we are giving you the account, don't expect it to be a YSDM account. So your £10, your £20, your £50, your £100 donation will be useful for the rally, which is the most important part that Igboho said in that interview as well. Rally and and like I said, a lot of things will be outsourced to others. Gbogbo nǹkan kọ́ la máa lè ṣe níjọ́ yẹn. So tá a bá ránwó iṣẹ́ la máa rí result. Tá a bá ránwó iṣẹ́ everything will be murky. Ẹ lè expect ẹni tó pé wá lùlù fún yín ó ní ní fún lówó. They might come in and play whatever they like. But wọ́n lè máa lọ máa play orin òkú fún wa nísìn. Bọ̀dá máa fà kí ló ń ṣe ṣáà sanwó fún wa. Bọ̀dá wá sanwó fún wọn wá play nǹkan tá a bá fẹ́. Photographer gbogbo ìtawà náà máa fi ṣiṣẹ́ àwọn náà I've been studying a lot and there's a lot of other areas. Whatever area you want to help in, don't hesitate. We need as many volunteers on the day. If you don't have the IVs, you can get it. we'll probably try and get some view as well. That is why we need support for a lot of things. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. Nǹkan tá a máa fi àgbà ètò yìí sí lálẹ́ yìí nìyẹn. Kọ́lọ́run kó gbàdúrà wa. Adélẹ̀ lè rí oṣù ọmọlókù bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Mo kí gbọ́n grandma o. Good night from here.